Welcome to the It's All for Love podcast. I am Cheryl Mazza, the Healing Dancer, your host. This podcast is about Michael Jackson and how he continues to spread love in the world and inspires us to be our best selves. In this episode, I'm speaking with Odessa Patton from Lindenwold, New Jersey. Odessa and I met a few years ago through a mutual friend because of our great love for Michael Jackson. We talk about so many amazing things in this episode. Some of the highlights are when Odessa talks about how Michael helps her creative process, like when she writes books or creates art. The song Man in the Mirror inspired her to start her nonprofit, The Village with an Open Heart. And Michael also inspired her to leave her government job and pursue her dreams and joys. I hope that you enjoy this episode and all of the great nuggets of wisdom from Odessa. If you are watching on YouTube, please make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. If you're listening on any other podcast platform like Apple, Pandora, Spotify, I ask you to please leave me a positive review. And of course, I am always looking for guests to be on this podcast. So if you would like to chat with me and tell your Michael Jackson story, I would absolutely love to chat with you. Please see the information in the show notes about scheduling a coffee chat with me. Thank you so much for watching and listening to It's All for Love. Well, welcome to the podcast, Odessa Patton. Odessa lives with her husband, Eric, and two teens in Lindenwold, New Jersey. Along with her husband, she runs their nonprofit, Village with an Open Heart, which was inspired in great part by Man in the Mirror, which provides life, community, and business development. This journey has led to the fruition of longtime dreams. Odessa is currently a mental health counseling intern and serves her community as a local elected official. Odessa is a nearly published author, a newly published author of the Scenic Route books. And Odessa is amazing. Thank you so much for being here on the podcast to talk about what I like to say, our favorite person, Mr. Michael Jackson. And Odessa and I don't even know how many years ago now it's been that we met, but we met through a mutual friend with our mutual love of Michael Jackson, which is just a great way to meet somebody and form a friendship, I think, adding to the family. Yes.
It really is.
Yeah. So what did you came to my Healing Through Dance class, right, in the park?
I believe so. First of all, thank you for that warm introduction. It is such a pleasure to finally be sitting here with you, Cheryl.
Yeah.
And I love that you love Michael Jackson. And we met on Facebook through a mutual friend, and you invited me to dance with you. And I think it was a group, and I ended up going by myself.
Yeah.
And then I met you and some of your friends, and we were out in the park. I think it was near sunset.
Yes.
And we were just vibing and grooving to Michael Jackson. It was just one of the, I guess, relaxing and I guess confirming and affirming moments of my journey, especially my recent journey, but my life journey in general. So it was such a homecoming moment to kind of be with the MJ family.
Yes, yeah, I love doing that Michael Jackson themed class every year. It brings so many people together and it just shows the love that we all have for each other and for him, obviously. So, yeah, so happy to have you here and so happy to be friends.
Yes, absolutely. It's been a pleasure being your friend and learning from you and just vibing to Michael Jackson and just keeping his spirit alive together.
Yes, that's what we do best. So tell me, when did Michael strike you in the heart?
Oh, like I was explaining to you earlier, several times. I would say the very first time that I knew he did was the first time I actually heard Man in the Mirror live as a kid. And I think that song in particular, I was always a lifelong, fan, but that song in particular really compelled me in the trajectory of my life. So as I went to college, as I just made everyday life decisions, that song always returned to me. And I would say in 2016, my husband and we I suffered a miscarriage, the first of two, and from that I was in I went into a very, very deep, dark place. But I actually was already in that dark place. I think I went into a deeper level of it. And from there, the thing that happened to me was my career just exploded, erupted. I had, this plan as a government worker for like 20 years. And I was never truly happy because it wasn't my dream. I had all of these dreams that I really never seriously pursued. And when I was going through all of those things, emotionally, I started returning to Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror, but constantly. It was something I probably listen to it every day, but to constantly
Mm.
play it over and over and over again. Something did happen in me. Something did happen in me. It was some type of spiritual self responsibility came over me, and it just was a light bulb. Was like, wait a minute, I'm not living my dream. I'm not going in. I'm not fulfilling my purpose right now. I'm living. I'm getting by, and that moment struck me in the heart where I completely, walked away from everything I was planning for the past 20 years. My safe space, my comfort zone. I really basically destroyed it to follow what I thought was, my purpose, or one of my purposes, which is forming a village with an open heart. Because I come from a background of child protection, senior assistance, and individuals with disabilities as a caseworker, that was just a natural transition for me to just go into it in a different way. And it hasn't been an easy process. It's been very rocky, but it's been extremely interesting. Extremely interesting. And it's almost like Michael's music over the past few years has been almost like a compass or an echo. And I use it just as a guide and as a calming space. So the way my life is now is nothing compared. It's completely different from when it was in 2016. And I do credit, just going down that history, going back in time and spending time with Michael and his life and studying his life and listening to his music and relating to the positive vibrations that he had. And it led me to even finding people in my own community that love Michael Jackson. It wasn't just I was just listening to it, online, or I went from there to dancing with Michael Jackson fans in the park to putting on whole concerts for
Yeah.
Michael Jackson. And I know that is to me it's spiritual, and to the people around me it's spiritual. And I hope that the people that are listening can relate to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm pretty sure that they can. Most Michael
Yeah.
Jackson fans get the spiritual side of him. I know that
Hmm.
we can get a little woo woo, you and me, but that's okay because I believe that Michael was too. Whether we saw that side of him, we did a little bit more
Yes.
now, But yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
he is very spiritual and healing. So I love.
Yes. And yes, and it has helped my mental. It has really helped my mental health just by listening to songs like "Heal the World" and "Will You Be There," and as the world is getting smaller to me. As we're getting, the population is getting bigger, the world is getting smaller, and we're more sensitive and aware of what the other person is going through. And a lot of things that Michael talked about in his songs during his lifetime. If you were a kid growing up listening to that and you hear it today in 2024, uh, what resonates with you is a responsibility, you know, to make the world a better place.
Right.
just you
Yes.
like those things. We are living in a time right now where those words are so true. And
Right.
what would happen if we focus on love
Right.
and if we focus on our healing?
Yeah. Yeah. If we started with ourselves, right? Looked at ourselves, what is it in ourselves that we can heal,
Mm-hmm.
and then, share that with the world. We all have healing to do. It's a constant journey,
Mm-hmm.
but where can we start? And
Yeah.
then that will in turn will help the world.
Yes.
But yes. And
Yes.
yes. What would the world be like if it was more love? I think
Mm-hmm.
it would be freaking amazing.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
rainbows and butterflies and unicorns.
Yes. 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 I think our generation was blessed enough to have lived in the time to have a modern day example of that in
Yeah.
Michael Jackson.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know, a good, pure, decent human being. And for better, for worse, the things that you go through that stop you from being a good, decent human being, no
Right.
matter what. And I think that's the biggest takeaway, over these past few years is, staying in this space of positivity, and this is a big move. I just really love Michael Jackson.
I do too. I totally share
Yeah.
the feeling with you. Yeah. It's just
Mm-hmm.
anytime you see him, think of him, hear him, it's just like this feeling in your heart
Mm-hmm.
that is
Much
love.
happier person.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It makes you smile.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, thank you so much for all of that. I love it.
Yeah, thank you.
So, how has Michael inspired you in your life?
I would say first of all with his art and his purpose. I think I'm extremely imaginative, and maybe sometimes to a fault where I stay in my head very much so. Like as a child, I loved art and I loved writing. I love things like that. As I got older, I think, but at the same time, I didn't apply myself as much as I got older in my like middle school age, and facing those growing pains or whatever. But I always return to it, and I always return to music. But Michael's life, just just having him as an example of a successful person, and watching someone grow up from a child on up, to the most famous person in the world. Um, that inspires me on my level. His songs, Man in the Mirror, that actually inspired me to pursue um, humanities and social studies and political science in college. Like that was really, I was still listening to those songs, in college and things like that. So when whenever I have some type of next level to get to, that will always be my kind of like theme song. So that's the theme in pretty much every journey that I've gone through. That is probably the biggest inspiration. And then when he created the Heal the World Foundation,
Mhm.
that was something that I vividly remember and was like, I'm going to do that. I'm
Right.
going to do it. So the Village with an Open Heart, one of my first like mini programs that I hopefully will launch one day. But one of the first ones I created was a boys program called A Man in the Mirror, and so that was that's the music was always inspiring as well. I'm trying to say so to heal the world. To me, it was more than a song.
Yeah.
It's more of a calling. It's more of a calling card to me. You know,
Hmm.
this is your responsibility now. You're I was singing to you as a child, but you're an adult now. So these songs that are in your heart, it's time to bring them out in the world. How best you can do them. But just as life in general, even the sad parts.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say warnings, but vividly recall, the trials and things, and almost wanting to really turn it away from it, because it was like, oh, I don't want to see this again, because now then I was a young adult, and I was like, I can't watch this again. I thought he wasn't going to let these people trick him anymore, or whatever.
Right.
It was a little bit of anger, you
Mm-hmm.
know, but it was anger knowing that that's what a purposeful life does. You keep loving no matter what,
Right.
no matter what happens to you, you keep loving and you keep giving no matter what. So, to watch his ego die like that,
Mm.
was very traumatizing. But, you know, as someone who believes as I do, it's like, okay, that's the whole point of living. But he being a perfect gentleman and being just a good example. Not only a good example, but the things that he went through. Someone needed to go through to shed light on things. I think in a
Yeah.
spiritual, supernatural kind of way. It's sad to say. I hate to say that, but look at where we are today, and things that he was concerned about today. We
Mm-hmm.
are we're finally facing,
Right.
and I see the even though he's gone, the credence to his words and his prophecies on this earth, you know, they're being validated in real time,
Yep.
and NBA fans can see that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And he's showing up more than ever right now, as you and I have talked about many times. He's just all over the place.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, he is. If you look around, you don't even have to be a Michael Jackson fan, and you'll notice at least one Michael Jackson reference every single day in something that you see or you read or you hear, or even the kids today,
Yeah.
when I was a child, Elvis was uh, already gone,
Mm-hmm.
but he was about the same, maybe 10 years gone or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that feeling that that he was still alive, and the big lure of Elvis during that time when he was gone and Michael was coming up.
Right.
And I was like, oh wow, this is crazy. They think this, they think that, but on Michael's scale is more of his whole life is just shining bright. It's whatever is going on with him, like all these years later, it's more so. It's almost like his teachings are just stronger than his life itself, if that makes sense. His music really is timeless. It really is important
Yes.
to the time. It was more than entertainment.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, and then as children, we didn't like really understand the message at the
Mm-hmm.
time through the music. We
Exactly.
just knew that there was something bigger there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Feel his energy, his aura, or whatever you want to call it. But we didn't understand until we were adults dealing with these issues.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's what I was trying to say, because he was like, okay, I realized we were going to be here eventually. Years down the line, but the impact,
Right.
yeah, the
Yeah.
impact. They're seeing. Wait a minute,
Yeah.
this song, I can I can quit my job. Like, ding, light bulb. Like those
Yeah.
that's the impact of Michael's music. Oh, wait a minute, I can do this. I can soar. Wait a minute, I'm not alone. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
It empowers you if
Yeah.
you allow it to. It can really empower you in a positive way. And music, it, music doesn't always do that. Sometimes it can bring you down, sometimes it can bring you up, you know, so I'm getting through. But something that's so sustainable and a life changing, effective. I can't stress that enough about how life changing and effective the quality of his music and the quality of his messages.
Mm-hmm. That is so true. Yeah, it's just, right now I can't even like put it into words because it's just so like everything feels like he wrote it or all of his music like for right now and the state that the world is in. It feels like it was written for this time, you know, and that's where I like maybe I'm naive and I understand that things have been going on for years that we weren't aware of. Maybe we're just like blind to it even when I was a young adult, but you know, it's just but it also is like it makes me happy because a lot of it is very inspirational and it is waking a lot of people up to, you know, you can live the life that you want to live. You can create a life for yourself and not have to follow, you know, what society is telling you to do. So, and Michael inspires that in a lot of us. So, yes.
Yes. Yes. So it really does.
Yeah.
And you can even see, you know, people that admire and look up to him who openly say that and look at their lives.
Right.
I mean, you know, he did leave a good guidebook for our generation to follow.
Yes, he did.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about some Michael Jackson synchronicity.
Ooh, synchronicity. Oh, let me look on my note there.
Yeah.
But I would say, I'm going to say the most profound one is just really sitting here across talking to you. The man in the mirror kind of led me into public service, which led me into public office, which led me to having a conversation with a person, which led me to getting a Facebook friend request, which led me to talking to you right now. But the type of person you are, and just us having this this conversation is one of the biggest synchronicities because I knew that there was someone like you near me. Like I'm like, there's this Michael Jackson pull, there's this Michael Jackson vibration. It's like moonwalkers. I'm like, I don't know anybody. Let me go on Facebook and see if there's any groups that don't see anything like that or don't know anything like that. Someone just happened to recognize that I'm a Michael Jackson fan and knew another Michael Jackson fan and thought that we should meet.
Yes.
You know, it wasn't a seeking out.
Right.
You know, it was just us doing our thing and vibing the mic. It's like, oh, you got some family over here. You know
Yeah.
that you know, but and you and one other person, buddy, was, you know, it's just been one thing after the other since meeting you guys. You know, the synchronicities are insane. Not even, I don't want to like even tell my, you know, I got, you know, there's more stuff to tell you off camera. But no, I guess, you know, it's some things are public knowledge, but like everything right now is like Michael Jackson centered.
I
You know,
know.
my friend.
It's great.
It is. And I was like, how many Michael Jackson synchronicities? I'm like, okay, my husband, you know, we met, fell in love, blah, blah, blah. His birthday is August 29th.
Right. Yeah.
You know, someone that I love dearly in my family is dating a Michael Jackson impersonator. These things really don't have anything to do with it, but they did inadvertently. You know, it's just there's just so many of them that are so um, everyday, like natural. I guess like there's tons of Michael Jackson synchronicities in my life that I could probably sit here and be like, oh yeah, this and this and this and this and this and this. There's so much.
Yeah. It's great,
There's
isn't
so. It is great. It is great. And just asking that question, I'm like, oh wow, there's
it?
so many. And his songs just left from one thing to the other.
Yeah.
Like it was almost like it was like Alice in Wonderland. And like his music has been kind of little doses of courage, I would call them.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they've been like. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. Wait a minute, what can I change about myself? What do I need to do moving forward? Heal the world. Oh, okay, how can I heal the world? Oh, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to create this nonprofit. I'm going to da 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 da. And then, will you be there? Okay, all right, I'll run. No problem. Those little, it's almost been like little clues.
Yeah.
Little clues. And one of the things that I love to do is art and writing. And so did Michael.
Mm-hmm.
And as an artist too, that's something that I tucked away long inside. I took that away a long time ago. Didn't really pursue it. And I will be honest with you. I lived a rather unhappy existence for a while because I put away music and art and things like that. But to return to them, I returned to them just one night. Listened to the Invincible album, and I just went into just a beautiful space. And I say, I say Michael and I, his music and I, we wrote for about 2 days straight, and I completed my first book. He's just he just inspires everything. He's a part. He's a really big inspiration in my life. I thank God for Michael Jackson.
Amen. Amen to that. Yeah. Yeah. No, I can relate because I do the same thing where it's like a lot of like the healing through dance that was inspired and created because of Michael Jackson, like Divinity in Motion, that's from one of what's dangerous, like that name came from there. But just like because he is the one that introduced me to dance when I was just a little girl. But he not only introduced me to the world of dance, he introduced me to dance as healing. Like dance ended up being my healing, my therapy. So I have him to thank for that, and now I share that with the world through my healing through dance. And the way that all of that came about was either me listening to his music or watching his videos. So, and it was just like all of a sudden ideas start popping into my head, and that's the creativity just starts to flow.
I love that so much.
Me too.
You took me to a beautiful place with that musical analogy, and that's really what it is. Like when I'm drawing, or when I'm writing, it's like
Yeah.
And one of the things that if I like of all the arts, what's the missing ingredient was dance. I have a song. I don't have a song or a dance. Like, but I'm and to have, met you and to be out in the park dancing the rocket is not is absolutely 100% my heart, but not my, I never really had the courage to do that. And it was something I always wanted to do. And then I meet this woman, and she's just so dance, Michael, MJ, dance. Are you coming? Are you coming? Are you coming? It's going to be great. It's going to be relief. And I just want to thank you for helping me incorporate dance into my world.
Of course, you're welcome.
Because that is a groovy thing. Like I'm a black girl that don't dance. So, but but when I do dance, it's a Jackson. It's a Jackson that's behind it. So that to move is important, and to understand that he's also his music also can help you help supply you with some good healthy habits as well.
Right. Yeah. It's exercise.
Mind, body, soul.
Yeah. Mind, body, soul exercise right there. Yep. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
Well, do you have a favorite Michael Jackson song?
I gave you a huge list.
It's okay. It's hard to pick just one.
Yeah, it depends on the moment and the era because I think I correlate my favorite Michael Jackson song to the era that
Mm.
of age.
Okay.
So it was always Man in the Mirror,
Hmm.
for me. But I think I'm getting closer to 50.
Hmm.
His songs from his Invincible album when he was more mature are
Yeah.
resonating with me the most. And whatever happens right now is my current, fave to go to. But Man in the Mirror is absolutely my all time favorite Michael Jackson song. But whatever happens, yeah, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at in 2024, going into 2025.
I love that song.
Mhm.
Whatever happens, don't let go of my hand. Hmm.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I think I might grow to that after we
Yeah, me too.
because that really, you know, go for it. Go for it. Like if I hadn't have gone for things, it's not what I planned. It's not what I planned. When I leaped in 2016 and left the state, my pension, my longevity. Like I said, I had almost 20 years then.
Mhm.
And, I had the stability, the insurance I had, went through all of that to honestly be understanding how much my clients probably suffer out there,
Mhm.
when I walked away from everything. But I tell you, had I not walked away from what was comfortable to me, I would have not seen what God had for me.
Mhm.
And what God had for me is nothing like I planned, and I couldn't have planned it better.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all about
Yeah.
trust.
It really is. It really is all about trust. And I'm even as I'm going towards the next path, each each journey step is always, and
Hmm.
it's like God was like, wait a minute, we were just over here. We were just here, and you're not gonna fall, But there's such. I would be remiss if I didn't repeat it. There's such spiritual value to Michael Jackson's music if you allow it. It really did change my life. Not it alone, but it as a beckoning, that still
Hmm.
that voice in the back of my head, that voice radiating,
Yeah.
and it planting that seed that he planted 30 years ago
Hmm.
started to sprout.
Wow.
And if you let those seeds sprout, it can change your life. Look at this beautiful podcast. Be inspired.
Yeah, yeah. This was like an inspiration. I one day was talking to some other Michael Jackson fans that I've come close with, and I was telling them how I wanted more Michael in my life. I was like, I just don't know how to do it. And then all of a sudden, I had the idea to do this podcast. So now
And
I
I
get to
love,
talk to more people and meet more people.
and that's it. Like you've introduced me to so many people in the Michael Jackson family that I hope to continue to grow and become closer with because it's a real family.
It is.
The Moonwalkers, like we're grown up,
Yeah.
and but there's just that love for Michael, but there's a kinship in there too.
Yes.
It's not if you most of us who are Michael Jackson fans, we want to make the world a better place. We want to follow and pursue our passions and our dreams, and we want to be successful, in spite of whatever we may be going through individually. There's a hope there.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a hope there, and the community together rallies together, and I just love that.
Yes. And we can help each other, you
We
know,
can help each other.
through Michael, like through our love for Michael, we can help each other in
Mm-hmm.
our own lives. It doesn't have to be just about Michael. It's about helping
Mm-hmm.
you to be the person that you're meant to be, which is
Mm-hmm.
one of his teachings. So,
Mm-hmm.
again, it
Yes.
comes back to that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's bigger than the person.
Right.
The message is light. The message is light and love, and what is your God? I would say your God footprint when
Yeah.
you leave this earth. And I think he left a pretty profound one. I know we like to look at, well, not society likes to look at the flashy part of him, the thriller, and those songs or whatever. But even then, you look deeper into the messages and what he really is trying to portray. And him and other artists similar to him, but the message is love, right?
Right. That's exactly what it is. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's all for love. Do you have a favorite short film or video or movie?
Mm-hmm. My favorite movie is The Wiz. That didn't come about until I became an adult. It was frightening as a child. He really did well.
Yes.
If they did well in that movie. Um, that movie, above Man in the Mirror, was probably the light bulb moment that changed my life. Like watching that movie over and over and over when I was going through my darkness and mourning,
Mhm.
watching that movie over and over and putting myself in each of those characters. But oh, and my favorite video had to be Liberian Girl. I just love his face at the end.
Yeah.
I really love his face at the end, but knowing, I don't know if he was, how he was behind the camera, all through the
Right.
process, but to see him um, in that era. I loved him during that era because he had so many dreams. You could see that he wanted to do this, he wanted to play that, he wanted to go this, he wanted to create that. And that video, that joy that he had on his face as a grown man, pursuing, following his dreams. I just love that video. Even though he's done a lot of theatrical things, it's just that pure, joy, and the quality of that video really stands out
Right.
to this day.
Yeah. I just see his smile from that video. Like,
Yes, at the end, that's just the kill shot, the $1 million shot.
yeah.
That's my favorite capture of Michael Jackson is that moment when he smiles behind the camera.
Yes.
I think he's just so beautiful in that moment.
Yes. Yes. So, what do you
Yeah.
want the world to know about Michael Jackson?
I want the world to know that there was something great that walked this earth, and I think as time goes on in the very near future, we'll see more evidence of that. I don't know how to really explain that. I want the world to know the truth about Michael Jackson. And I trust that the truth is beautiful.
Yeah.
But I just want the world to know the truth about Michael Jackson and
Yeah.
who he truly, truly is.
Yes. And it's coming out more and more. So,
Hmm. Oh, yes, absolutely. Even today, rest in power, Quincy Jones. Like,
mm,
he's always going to be relevant
right.
no matter what's going on. Every single day, there's a relevancy to him, and these aren't coincidences. I don't think. I think if you say a name enough, someone's going to answer to it.
Yes. Exactly.
So I think his life lives on through us and through future generations. I think his legacy is going to be absolutely fine.
How does Michael continue to spread love in your world?
This is music, and I love pointing out the synchronicities like you and I do by text.
Hmm.
Sometimes I'm like, yo, guess what? And I love doing it because I like pop culture.
Hmm.
I think he's the king of pop, not just pop music, the king of pop everything.
Hmm.
And when I look in pop culture today or look at around the world today, I can see them. I see like little synchronicities where while you really did affect a lot of people's
Mm.
lives, your family affected this entire country. Like what type of culture, for better or for worse, would our would we be? How much different would we be without their influence
Yeah.
over time and as they influence other people and so on and so forth? So I just, yeah. I think so.
I love it.
Yeah, he's just everywhere. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And let's hope it stays that way for a long time, at least for us. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I like to stay here. Like, even if I'm the only one that believes it and the only one that rides that way, I think I want to stay here because it works for me.
Yeah.
And and it's joyful and it's pure and it's light and it's love and it's God. You know, it is a right on, feeling. And I won't say just a feeling, but way of living to kind of have that type of person as an example to look up to.
Yes. Agreed. Was there anything else that you want to share with us, or?
I'm going to repeat what you say. It's all for love.
Yes,
It really is.
it
It
is.
really is. I just hope that as we all continue to come together as a Michael Jackson community, that we be the change that we wish to see, and that we have the message, and we do understand that we can make a better place together. That we can heal the world together. It starts with us. We know that there are problems. We know that there's ways to solve them. But at the end of the day, we know that it starts with us, and we know that it starts with light. And I just implore everybody, wherever you are, and whatever way that you can help, you should. They say to the good of all and harm to none. We can one person at a time improve the status of the world today. It's either that or the opposite, right?
Right.
So, don't think that your life doesn't matter, because it absolutely does. It absolutely
It does. Ditto what Odessa just said. Everybody's life matters.
does.
And yes,
Mm-hmm.
it's all for love. So thank you so much, Odessa, for being here and talking with me
Thank
and sharing
you.
your love of Michael. Everyone have a
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
It was a pleasure, absolute pleasure.
Same. Have a great day, everyone. Love you. Bye.